Hey folks, Matt from artoftheimage.com. Back today with my 1-month review on the Nikon 24-120 f4G VR. There's a few other letters in there, ED and whatnot, AFS, but that's in a nutshell. It's the 24-120 Nikon VR. Fantastic lens. You can see it here on the D750. We'll take it off, show it to you on its own. You can see it's fairly small, especially when we take off the hood here. You could see it's not that big a lens. It's not an internal zooming lens, so it does come out to about that long, but it's still pretty small. You see, when we put it back on the 750, it pairs up really nicely with the 750. It also pairs up really nicely with the 610. So I'm just trying to get the hood back on here. And so let's get it back on for you. Make sure we got the hood on in the right, just turning it the wrong way. There we go. So you can see it looks pretty good. Nice size. And it's a good weight and size for the 750 too. It feels good in the hands. So overall, I've really enjoyed my time with the 24-120. It's a really great range. 24 all the way to 120 gives you a nice wide 24 on full frame, so 24 is 24, all the way out to 120. The beauty being that it's a constant f4 aperture and it's got the vibration reduction. It's a VR lens. When you pair all that together, especially with a D750, a D610, a D800, any of the really nice performing full frame cameras, f4 doesn't really become a limitation anymore. If anything, the advantage is having that longer range in your short-term zoom. So I highly recommend it for that. If you find you need something that's f2.8, you probably are going to need a prime anyways. There's not a lot of difference between f2.8 and f4. You'd be surprised how much you can still blow out a background, still get a really nice bokeh or bokeh, however you wish to say it, with an f4 lens, a constant aperture f4 lens. It works really good. The lens is extremely sharp. I've been very happy with not only the sharpness, but just the overall performance of the lens. I'm sure if you dig into the specs, you'll see that there's some barrel distortion on either end. But these days, either the camera corrects that for you or Lightroom does. So it's really not something that I find to be an issue. I really like the lens. It's probably I would say this is my favorite mid-range zoom for a full frame camera. The 24-120 range gives you a very nice long 120 and a nice wide 24. They don't cap you at 28. The f4 is constant, so you got quite a, it's a fairly bright lens for a zoom. You want to get any faster, you might as well jump back to your primes if you need that high speed lens. So I guess what I'm saying there is I don't think I would choose an f2.8 zoom over this one now that this is available. This is my favorite lens for full frame. As I said, it's extremely sharp. I've been very satisfied with all of my images out of here. It performs very nice, especially when paired up with the 750. You don't even notice the f4 limitations you might have thought would happen from autofocus, because the D750's autofocus is so fast, so amazing, that I don't even notice it. That said, this is an AFS lens. It's one of their newer ones. I don't really think you'd notice it on any body. It's a quick focusing lens. It works very nicely. I think for the money, it's a good value. And certainly if you get it in a kit form with the 750, you're going to get a better deal because you're going to save some money there. Same as if you bought it with the 610 or if you bought it with the 810. Let me see. Let's check my notes here. Just make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, the VR, as I mentioned, is good. And I know I didn't really touch on that too much, I guess, but the VR is excellent in here. 3 to 4 stops, I'm going to say, of extra hand hold ability. Very nice. You'd be surprised with the VR on, especially at the long end, what you can hand hold. I mean, obviously, for those of you that aren't familiar with how VR or IS works, your subject needs to be stationary for you to get those slow handheld shutter speeds. But provided you're shooting a stationary or an unmoving subject, you can get some pretty low shutter speeds with the VR on this. It's very good. Nice size and compromise for weight and size, as far as that's concerned, especially with the 750. As you can see, it pairs up real nice with it. It pairs up nice with the 610 too. It's a nice lens. It's not too big, especially considering it's a 24-120 long range coverage. but the f4 allows them to keep the weight down and the size down, so it's really nice that way. And as I said, I think this is my favorite mid-range zoom right now on the market for a full frame camera. It's nicer than I think the Canon equivalent of the 24-105, which is a nice lens, but I think the Nikon outdoes it by a bit in just about every way. I mean, it's longer. It's got the constant f4, which is equal in terms of that with the Canon. But I think it's a little better performing lens, a little probably faster focusing and a little sharper lens. But you should check that out and see what you think. I wholeheartedly encourage you to take it for a test drive at the store and see what you think. My 1 month review with it, my 1 month shooting with it has been great. I really have no complaints with this lens. I quite like it, so I can wholeheartedly recommend it to you. But again, check it out for yourself if you're interested. I think you'll be impressed. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon with some new videos, some new articles. Keep you up to date with what's going on in the world of photography, videography, and technology right here at artoftheimage.com. Thanks a lot, folks.